Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and today we're going to be talking about how, trans activists are going insane again, and how crazy and how much of the Democrats vote for these specific things as well. How it's mostly Democratic people, and this is going to be kind of disgusting because obviously it's just not normal for people to do this type of stuff, but we're dressing into the type of insanity that is being left on a part of our world, and we need to address it pretty much post haste. Of course, we're trying to make things, be this type of thing. All right, without further ado, let's get directly into the video. Trans activists left over 60 bottles of piss outside the EHRC. Trans activists left over 60 bottles of piss outside the offices of the Equality and Human Rights Commission on Friday afternoon to protest the government watchdog's policy on trans access to public facilities. Mass representatives of the anonymous group of piss trannies, POT, which is, I don't know why that's even now a thing now, but I digress. We're a society that wants to glorify this type of insanity, so whatever. Ceremonially delivered the urine to the EHRC office in Westminster, London, and staged what they described as a piss-in. One member pissed herself in her bejeweled gown before pouring bottles of urine on herself and the pavement outside the building, all the while shouting, "The EHRC has blood on its hands and piss on the streets." The activist speaking to Vice on the condition of a nominee who described the dramatic action as an extreme version of the public embarrassment that trans people experience on a daily basis, using the toilet that either doesn't fit with the gender or using the one that does, and then facing the backlash of people's judgment. There's a reason for that. Because women do not like to be in a bathroom with a man, first off, because it makes them uncomfortable. I would like to do a poll of us seeing who would want to have a man in their, or what woman would want to have a man in their bathroom. In their bathroom while they are in. I'm pretty sure you'll find those polls that most women do not want this to happen, because so bad things tend to end up happening to women when this does happen. Let's go look at when we send transgender people into prisons and into female prisons and see what really happens to the women there. There's either a rape happening or there is pregnancy happening. So I really don't think that sending them into the opposite sex, the biological ones, into those places, because bad things tend to happen. And vice versa. I don't pretty sure anybody. I guess a man wouldn't mind a woman being in there, but I digress. It's uncomfortable for majority of people that don't want these type of people in their bathrooms, and this is the reason why. We are trying to cater to this type of society to where this is normal, to where we allow men into women's bathrooms, where we allow women into women's sports, to where we allow opposite gender to these other things. And by the way, if we really want the equality, why don't we just let all men, biological or not, be allowed into women's sports and have women essentially lose their sports because it's technically their fault they allowed this shit to happen? But I digress. We're having insanity, and this is what I would call the breakdown of society. We're letting things that we would never potentially be allowed, even in prior day before, for this type of stuff to happen. Now it's happening, and we're seeing a immense breakdown of society. And we have to find a way to fix this. And first, by fixing it, is to be more hardcore and not allow these type of things to end up happening. These people need to be in actual mental hospitals so they can get the care that they need. If they do not be put in mental hospitals, it's going to be a huge problem later on for all these other issues that are going to be pertaining to happen. This is what we have, and this is the reality that we're facing right now. We have to come together and say, what can we allow and what can we not allow? Do we know that men and women are different? Okay, if they are, good. Then now we need to find out what happens if a person changes into the other gender, if we really want to say that, and they're still biologically the gender they were when they were born as. Okay, so we have to realize that they have repercussions with these issues, and what happens when they allow this? We already posted a video of doctors actually trying to experiment on children, so that's another thing that's insanity in itself. So, this is where we're at. And the only way we can fight back and change the culture is that we have to be more hardcore to these type of people and get them the actual mental health that they need. We have to push back harder against the far left for pushing this type of insanity. And of course, if it ends up us being in a civil war to stop this, then by all means, then we may have to enter a civil war. But listen, And here's one thing. I'm not trying to advocate for a civil war. I don't want a civil war. But at some point, we have to find a way to push back against the insanity, because if we don't, we're going to have a massive problem on our hands. The activists are obviously showing to do this insanity type stuff, and we need to make a stop to it. We know more of this stuff, alright? It needs to be put a stop to it. POT made a swift exit after the PSN, leaving behind the bottles of urine and the bewildered, unannoyed EHRC security team, who called the police. Over 20 officers subsequently arrived in vans to cordon off the area with police tape. The EHRC is a non-department public body and responsible for the enforcement of equality and legislation in Britain. However, it recently issued guidance advising that excluding trans people from single-sex services and spaces could be considered legal if it is proportionate means of achieving a legitimate aim. In January, it also advised that the government ban on conversion therapy should not apply to trans conversion therapy. I would 100% agree with that. They should not do conversion therapy. 19 LGBT groups, including Stonewall, have also called on the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions to strip the EHRC of its A rating as a human rights body. A previous Vice Word News exclusive revealed that multiple staff have quit the equality and human rights body, citing an anti-LGBT culture adopted by senior leaders. The EHRC has denied that the organization's or senior leaders are anti-trans. POT say that they are inspired by the tradition of 70s and 80s ZAPs, outrageous demonstrations designed to draw attention to issues facing queer people, and previously including everything from conservative politicians being pied in the face on live television to drag nuns canning at Christian references. We want queer people to know that protests can be enjoyable. They can be theatrical, they can be exciting, they can be full of rage. The activist who spoke to Vice said. So, do we want to call these people exactly sane here? Do we want to call these people sane? If this is what sane people do, I don't think sane people do this at all. Mentally disturbed people do this. It's not funny, it's not cool, and it's not meant for rage. These people have mental issues, and they're actively expressing that they do have mental issues. And the only way to fix this is to have them go through any type of training to stop the mental issues. This is just the reality we live in. Now, we're going to from a post from the Daily Wire. Nearly 1 in 4 Democratic voters believe men can get pregnant. Poll. Nearly 1 in 4 Democratic voters believe men can get pregnant, according to a new poll. The online survey conducted by WPA Intelligence from August 22 to 25th found 22% of Democrats agreed with the statement some men can get pregnant. The percentage rose when only including women, and a whopping 30% of white college-educated female Democrats concurred. Overall, few Americans think men can get pregnant, said WPI Managing Director Colombo. But with 30% of a core Democratic constituency, college-educated white Democratic women, and 1 out of 5 Democratic voters believing this, one can see why Democratic leaders coddle the radical gender theory movement. Well, yeah, because it's mostly women, because women have to go off of feeling rather than go off of any type of logical thing at all. This is the problem that we have. The poll underscores the left's growing embrace of radical gender theory that biological sex does not dictate gender. People born female can later identify as men while retaining the ability to reproduce. No, they can't. Hence, the claim men can be pregnant. A recent Pew research found that 5% of young adults in the U.S. believe it's possible to identify into a gender that differs from their biological sex. The American Civil Liberties Union, the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and numerous liberal media outlets, including CNN and MSNBC, are increasingly opting for terms such as pregnant people or birthing parent instead of women when referencing pregnancy, fertility, and abortion. A recent CNN article laid out the left's confounding new lexicon on gender biology and procreation. Some trans men and non-binary people can also get pregnant, as can cis girls and trans boys, wrote Hammer Carr, who covers culture for CNN. This is also true in the opposite. Not all women are able to get pregnant. Yes, all women are able to get pregnant. Some have issues. Some cis women struggle with fertility. Yes. While trans women lack uteruses. Also correct. Opting for gender-neutral terms such as people or patients allows for these nuances in a way that what just saying woman does not. Majority of women can get pregnant. Majority of women have the ability to reproduce. Saying not that they can't is absolutely asinine. Although the poll shows more and more people on the left are buying into the new gender theory, some say referencing pregnancy outside of the context of gender is misleading. Pregnant people doesn't say who we're talking about. Carrie Baker, a professor of the study of women and gender at Smith College, told CNN, it makes pregnancy sound like a gender-neutral phenomenon or a sex-neutral phenomenon. No. We know that only women have uteruses and only men have penises and balls, I guess or you want to say testicles, and one only produces sperm and one only has eggs, and only one can get pregnant because only one has the ability to have eggs, and only one it has the ability to produce. It doesn't matter what you call them biological at their core, they are female, and that is it. You cannot change that fact. And the fact that, and the reason that this trans community wants to try to change that issue, and not really issue, but change that entirely, is what's completely wrong with the society. And that's what's disgusting. If you people don't see that type of reality, then there's something maybe wrong with you. Hate to break it to you guys. This is the reality that we're living in, and this is what we're trying to fight against. We need to fight against and fix the culture that is affecting our society, so that way we don't break down and fall. If we want to become like Rome, just let this happen. If we don't want to become like Rome, we have to fight to prevent it from happening. Remember, it's up to you guys to prevent it from happening, and we got to be harder than ever to prevent it from happening. Straight up. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.